Okay, thank you for joining us for another iTWire video with top Australian IT executives. I'm joined today by David Higgins. He's the Country Manager, Australia and New Zealand of WatchGuard. Welcome, David.
Thank you very much, Alex.
Now, first of all, I always ask the expected question. Please tell us about WatchGuard and your role as Country Manager, and the things that you do.
Okay, thank you very much. Look, I've recently joined WatchGuard. I've had 10 years experience in the IT security industry.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in IT for a lot longer than that. I guess the question you asked me is why WatchGuard and what do we do?
Yeah.
Joined 3 months ago. What do I think of WatchGuard? WatchGuard are very much focused on the small medium enterprise market for network security and content security, and I think that's an excellent market for me in terms of the size and the makeup of the Australian market, which really is a small medium enterprise market.
Millions of small businesses here.
Millions of small businesses, and that's clearly where WatchGuard are a top performer. And if I talk to customers in that marketplace, what are they saying? They understand there's an issue with security. They understand it's complex, and what they're really looking for is give me the best protection, but make it as easy as possible to implement and manage on an ongoing basis. And really, that's WatchGuard's key, is to provide best of breed security and provide that in a manner that's relatively easy to manage, and certainly provide the visibility of what's going on in your network through the various products in our product range.
Sure. Now, you've got competitors, there's like Checkpoint, which are probably more enterprise, Cisco, definitely enterprise, Sonic Wall, there's other competitors, but what else makes WatchGuard unique or different?
Okay. About 6 years ago, the company was a listed company. It was taken private through private equity. And the first thing they did is they looked at the base architecture of the product. And what we did is we built an architecture called FireWare, which really is the base of all of our products. And what we did is architect that to say, WatchGuard can't possibly invest in all of the technologies that are required to ensure that our customers are protected. So what we did is we built an architecture that said, okay, as the threat continues to increase, we know we're going to need some new feature or some new application which is going to protect us against that particular threat.
They will plug in to FireWare.
So we've built an architecture that allows us to plug in all of the various new best of breed technologies which provide the protection for our customers. And over the top of that, what we provided is our WatchGuard GUI. So it's very easy to manage through a browser, so that we can manage, update the policy, and do the reporting to ensure that the company is best protected. Now, many of our competitors will build a product which is very fast at doing scanning for a firewall. What we did is we said what we need to do is we need to build an architecture as this threat continues to increase and evolve, and the response to that evolves. We need an architecture that allows us to plug in and not just be good at one thing. We need to be good across the range. So
like it scales, basically, scalable to the evolving threat landscape.
It's scaling, but more importantly, as the threat evolves, we need to be able to plug in new things without slowing down the throughput of the appliances of the products we sell. So we build on Intel general purpose processors. Gives us a couple of advantages. One, it means that as Intel continues to improve their technology, we get that. We also take advantage of that. It also means that Intel is a general purpose processor, and we're not just great at firewalling. We're great at doing advanced persistent threats, application control, intrusion prevention, web blocking to make sure that we're stopping our people within our organisation going to certain categories of sites, data loss prevention, advanced persistent threats, something we will talk about, I think, when we Cryptolocker seems to come up in every one of the conversations.
Yeah, absolutely.
Happy to talk about how we respond to the threat of things like Cryptolocker.
Yeah.
So we have a base operating system that allows us to plug in best of breed. We use general purpose processors to make sure that we get the best possible throughput, and we build a management layer and a reporting layer on top of that to make sure our customers are well protected.
It sounds like your guys, 6 years ago thought, if we can start again from scratch, how will we do it better? And I think you've answered how that is the case.
And I wasn't here 6 years ago,
No.
and I'm sure that was a tough decision, because WatchGuard's been around since 1996. I think they're very well known in the whole firewall market. To actually go back and say we're going to rebuild from the base architecture up, I
Bold
think
move, yeah.
Clearly a bold move,
And it's paid off.
it is certainly paying off. And I think if we look at not just what we're saying, but what the third-party analysts are saying, NSS Labs has just released a report and they gave us WatchGuard a recommended rating for our product. Great performance and very, very cost-effective. So the third-party analysts are, I think, the referees or the judges who are certainly giving us the tick of approval.
Now, we'll talk about some of the predictions you released recently, 2015 security predictions, and we'll talk about that in a sec, but you also had some unpredictions. So what are the trends that aren't likely to happen in 2015?
Yeah, I think Corey Nackreiner, our Director of Security Strategy, came out last week and I guess went against the general trend, which made it newsworthy.
Yep.
And for anybody who likes to try and find Corey Nackreiner on YouTube, and I think you'll find it was a very, very interesting presentation. What he said was, there's things that we seem to be focusing on which he doesn't believe and the corporation doesn't believe are necessarily going to happen.
Or happen anytime soon.
Happen, yeah. And it was about next year. So it was the unprediction for next year. I think the lead one was, we're all talking about the Internet of Things and there's security vulnerabilities. Sure, as he says in his presentation, on average there's 25 vulnerabilities in most of these Internet of Things. And they're in cars and fridges and TVs and watches and everything else. I think you've got to go back as he did and said, what's the motivation for the hackers in terms of the work they do? And it's monetary.
Yeah.
Are you going to get money by finding out what people want to, what the shopping list is on their refrigerator?
Or putting their washing machine on an endless spin cycle. I mean, no.
Yeah. So the security industry has evolved the protection. Mm-hmm. So the hackers have to continually evolve what they're doing. That takes, like any business, it takes investment, it takes time, and they're going to make a business decision about where they want to, what their target market is. Sure. And their target market, I don't think for next year, is going to be the Internet of Things. I mean, even if we think about it, how can they monetize that? Potential in the future, but I think next year we're still not there.
So part of the message there was, let's focus on the things that are vulnerable now and protect those. And as time goes by, and the Internet of Things becomes a lot more of a real threat, well, you're working on it in the background, but don't put all your eggs in that basket yet, because that's not real at the moment.
Yeah. The real one is the data stealing out of our enterprises, the holding people to ransom with ransomware.
Yeah.
They're the things affecting small businesses today.
So what are then some of the other predictions for real security threats in 2015 in Australia?
The nation state cyber warfare, mm-hmm. Is that going to affect you and I? Maybe not, but if we see the sophistication of things like Stuxnet, the amount of obviously development that went into something like Stuxnet, which has been around a long time, and the new one, Regin, which they're now seeing has been around since 2008. This is malware which has been developed clearly by people who have the resource and the capability and the ability to invest in very, very sophisticated malware, which has been undetectable for a long time. That then, the cyber criminals will then start to use that technology and start to attack us. Zeus, which is one of the great botnets out there, it's been around a long time, actually took the Stuxnet and started to use that in some of their attacks as well.
And that was a banking Trojan, wasn't it? Zeus?
Stuxnet.
Not Stuxnet, no.
Stuxnet was well, Zeus is certainly banking Trojan.
Yeah, Stuxnet was against the Iranian
infrastructure. Targeted the nuclear infrastructure.
So, I mean, I've got some other questions here, but I'll wrap them together because we're talking about, you mentioned before, Cryptolocker.
Yep.
Well, and I've got questions here about, data loss as well. I mean, Cryptolocker is about data loss. It's taking your hard drive and it's encrypting it and then trying to get, ransom out of you, and there's no guarantee that you're going to ever get your data or money back. And one of the only solutions is to, beyond having, a firewall that can prevent that in the first place, is to make sure you have multiple backups, some of which are off-site. So in case you do get nabbed, at least you can do a restore. But tell us more about how you can protect people from Cryptolocker, and we'll talk about other things to do with data loss in a sec.
Yeah, okay. Cryptolocker is obviously one that's out there, and I don't care whether you call it Cryptolocker or Crypto Wall or whatever it is. What it is, it's a very fast evolving piece of malware, which means that it comes in the most innocuous looking email.
From FedEx or your dentist or Australia Post?
Well, Australia Post and FedEx are the classic ones. One recently that came out a couple of weeks ago is the New South Wales Office of State Revenue, spoofing them, saying that you had a late payment of a speeding fine. Click here to find out how you can make a payment and what that was about. And immediately you've downloaded that, and then it calls home and it downloads the bad code and locks you up, encrypts all of your data, and there is no way out of it. Either you've got a backup and you can go to backups, or you pay the ransomware. And even paying the ransomware, which you can pay in bitcoins, because it's...
And good luck trying to figure out bitcoins if you're a small business and have to deal with them.
Well, it's almost untraceable.
Yeah.
It gave you the ability, you can then go online to buy some bitcoins and pay these people. That Cryptolocker also had a keylogger in it, so now they've got your banking details or whatever details to log in as well. So it's multiple problems. And I've been to talk to a number of the partners in my first 3 months that I've been in WatchGuard, and I think most of those partners have had customers who have one or two who have been hit by Cryptolocker. And what that says is, as I said, some of my background's been with antivirus companies, and they do a great job. But Cryptolocker moves so quickly that traditional antivirus, signature-based, just can't catch it.
So how does WatchGuard help to protect companies from it?
We have a product called APT Blocker, Advanced Persistent Threat Blocker. It's an option on our firewall. We recommend to every single one of our customers and prospects that this is something they should add on. In terms of the whole solution, it's not a major extra cost. And what APT Blocker does is we have to run with Gateway AV, because Gateway AV is antivirus is very efficient at getting rid and blocking the known bad. We want to get rid of the majority of it. What we're trying to find is that needle in the haystack.
The unknown bad.
The unknown, very much the unknown bad. So with Cryptolocker, if that comes through, we look at that piece of code, and what we'll do is we'll cache, we'll look at it, we'll create a hash of it, look at a local cache to see whether we've seen it before. If we haven't seen it before, we'll then go up to the global cache to see whether we've been before. If we haven't, we'll upload that file, and we'll actually run that file in a full emulation. We have the ability to then see what it's doing, and it's not like this is hours. This is seconds and maybe a couple of minutes. We'll explode it. We'll actually accelerate time, because many of these things sit and lie dormant. And then what we'll do is we'll give you a rating on it, and we'll block it. And not only block it, but we'll tell you why we block it. And the product we use, again, best of breed, a company called Last Line. And
Last Line of Defense, obviously.
Clearly, that's what it is. And it will pick up Cryptolocker, and it will block it, and it will tell you why, and it gives you a complete report of what it found in terms of its behaviour that would give them a rating to say this is bad. And I'll give you a really good example, which I just got this morning. There's a new Trojan that Corey Nakriner found last Thursday. He took that sample, ran it through VirusTotal, where there are 56 different antivirus engines. Not one had found it. That's last Thursday. Not one had detected it. He then ran that through our firewall and our APT blocker, and it gave it in fact, on VirusTotal, it said probably harmless.
Right.
When we ran it through our product called APT blocker, it gave it 100 out of 100. This is the absolute highest rating we can give a product as being bad. So 100% bad, and we immediately blocked it. So that was last Thursday. As of Sunday, 45 out of the 56 antivirus vendors on VirusTotal had actually produced this signature. So we had a 72-hour gap, and there was still some missing.
Yeah, incredible.
And that's so the APT blocker, how do you actually configure it? You've got a tick box. If you bought the application, you tick the box in our GUI,
GUI,
and you're now protected by the APT blocker.
So, I mean, Cryptolocker is one part of data loss, and we hear DLP, data loss prevention, one of these buzzwords, but it costs Australian businesses billions a year. What else are you doing to help businesses avoid that?
I don't know if it's billions, but I think it's a lot more money than maybe it's publicly known.
Yeah.
What we do is we would recommend to our customers that they use a WatchGuard partner, listen to what the WatchGuard partner. What we do is we train our partners. They are then certified. There is a third-party certification company to ensure that they're up to a certain level. Take their advice. I think one of the things you're starting to see in the Australian marketplace and also in the New Zealand marketplace, particularly New Zealand, where they've got, I think, a big proportion of small businesses who simply don't have the capabilities to maintain not only their IT systems, but particularly security. It's becoming more and more complex, and you're starting to see a lot of managed security providers out there actually running and hosting and managing the small businesses or smaller businesses' security.
And that would be how a lot of Australian businesses are coping with the security landscape, the smaller ones that can't afford an IT security, CIO or that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's true. Although not all of them can afford to do that or want to do that or are yet got to that point. And I guess if I take this is a sort of our entry level box, that'd manage a small business, 20, 25 users, 30 users. Again, that box provides all of the same security that we could provide to an enterprise customer. We put it in a small form factor, priced accordingly, yet it has exactly the same operating system and exactly the same management.
And it's small enough that you can manage it yourself and know what you're doing.
Yeah, and it's managed through a browser.
Yeah.
And I think we're all familiar with browsers these days. So you don't need to learn some complex management interface. We have a browser interface to make that as simple as possible. It's providing best-of-breed technology. It's providing the form factor that makes sense to small business. It's providing them with a management console that is easy to operate.
Yeah.
But we also we're a 100% channel partner model. And I would suggest to customers out there, if they're having issues with security, talk to your WatchGuard partner.
So what do you think the security market will look like in 12 months or over the next decade?
More of the same.
More of the same. Internet of Things will come real.
I think it's more of the same.
Yeah.
And the one thing we haven't talked about is cloud. I know one of Corey's unpredictions was that he thought the cloud wouldn't continue to explode in terms of its usage because of security issues. I think the cost advantages to going to cloud are probably going to continue to drive this. So I'm a little bit contrary to what Corey said. And also I'm looking at the Australian New Zealand marketplace, where I think we're probably lagging behind the US, and the cost benefits of moving to the cloud, I think, are probably making that decision, secure or not, making that decision for businesses. They simply just want to, like I do with my electricity. Like I do with my electricity, I want to plug into the wall. I want to pay for it as I use it.
As a utility,
and that's what
cloud allows.
Cloud absolutely allows you to do.
Well, I mean, I personally moved from Outlook, to Gmail 10 years ago, and I haven't looked back. Yeah. And that's a very simple scenario.
And people will ask us what's cloud. I mean, people have a Gmail account, a Hotmail account, they've got a Facebook account, they've got a LinkedIn account. They're all cloud services.
That's right.
And so. And if you've got a smartphone or you've got a PC at home, I would suggest today you're using a cloud service.
Yeah, well, we just used to call them online services. I mean, it's when cloud first came out, people didn't...
I think in my day they called them bureaus.
Yeah. So do you have any final messages for not only iTWire readers, but for your current and potential customers?
Yeah, look, security is important. Don't treat it, and I think particularly for CEOs, if I go out there and I look at what's happening in the marketplace, and I look at the effects of a Target breach in America, where senior executives were held accountable for that. If I look at the Home Depot breach, there's certainly they've been accountable for that. We're going through the whole Sony Pictures thing at the moment.
Yeah.
We're seeing...
And the articles were saying that they knew they had vulnerabilities but didn't do anything about it. So it's a stark lesson for any business.
And I think that's a really good point. That's one I wanted to make. If we go back to the Target breach, they had installed some new software, management software and alerting software. This thing was firing off alerts, but the actual users of it weren't aware of what it was doing, maybe not trained enough because it was so new. So they had the capability, they just missed the signals that were coming out. I'd say to our users or our customers, talk to your partner, call us if you like. We've got engineers in here. Take the tips on maintaining best security. Close enough is not good enough. Ensure that every now and again you're going out, you're getting your security reviewed. What you're doing last year and the year before may not be good enough next year. That's not saying you need to go and buy more. It maybe means that what you need to do is go and tweak it more. Just make sure that you're getting the best possible solution out of the box, and look for new technologies. Our APT blocker from last line is absolutely, I think, a must. And yet probably 40% of our new sales include Cryptolocker. Sorry, the Cryptolocker blocker, which is the APT blocker. I'd certainly like to see that go a lot higher.
And how much does the APT blocker cost?
Well, again, it's relative to the size of the box, which means the amount of throughput and generally speaking, the number of users you're supporting. But for our low-end box, a couple of $100 up to obviously thousands of dollars for our enterprise grade products. It's the same product right through the range. So it's enterprise class security right down to the smallest operation. And
I guess you would also advise people to have a look at the the WatchGuard YouTube site to check out Corey.
Yeah, look, Corey Nachreiner, Nachreiner. Look him up on YouTube. The one thing about Corey is he's not a sensationalist. He tells it like it is, and he's very much up to date, and he can provide you with various tips and ideas. If you know what you're facing in terms of the problem, then you're in much better shape than just saying, well, I'll just turn a blind eye to it. Know what's going on, know what the issues are, and see how you can best cost effectively meet the threat.
Forewarned is forearmed. Thank you very much, David.
Okay, thanks very much, Alex.